Good morning, good afternoon, Blues, whatever time it is. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. How are you doing today? Steven here, back with another video. It's all been kicking off over the past few days, hasn't it? Including last night, where there's a billion bits of transfer news. And it's carried on today as well with more rumours kicking off, and apparently another deal to boost the coffers, as they say. It looks like Manchester City are set to sell Maximo Perrone, the Argentinian midfielder. Very talented one as well, actually. He's been on loan at Como 1907 over in Serie A. It looks like he's about to join them on a permanent deal, according to reports from Simon Bukowski and Jack Gorn. We'll talk about that and what it could potentially mean. I did loads of videos yesterday, of course. There was rumours about Tijana Reinders, Wesley and Wirtz. That's heating up aggressively. Never mind the Morgan gibbs-white deal potentially. So much stuff going around. Insanely hot right now in the world of Manchester City Football Club. I think a lot of it does depend on Champions League football still, but there's loads of potential connotations and knock-on effects of all these transfers. So I thought I'd talk about him in a little bit of detail today. Talk about this potential sale and what it can mean for City, and absolutely loads more. I did a review of this kit as well yesterday over on the channel, if you want to go and give it a watch after this video's done. But yeah, so much going on. Of course, I'll give a quick catch-up of where we're at last night. There was discussions between Wirtz's family and Manchester City. There were rumours that Guardiola was there. It's come out since the videos I did last night that Pep wasn't actually at those chat, unfortunately. So he wasn't there, giving him the direct face-to-face lowdown. I'm sure, though, he would have chatted to their family at some point. It would make sense for Guardiola to actually speak to them if he wanted to secure the deal, especially given that Guardiola does speak German as well, which was quite comforting as well for his family. But it looks like that's progressing, It looks very exciting right now. And I'll show you, obviously, this morning, a little bit of rumours from the Sky Sports fella saying that City are hopeful of concluding a deal. And there's also rumours this morning about the Flamengo right-back Wesley, apparently approved as City's project, which has intensified talks in recent days, according to Pablo Rafael Rua. Apparently going to formalise the initial offer of €35 million, but they want 40 million euros. That's about 27 million quid or something like that. It'll get done if that's the value. And it does lead to a lot of questions about City's potential transfer deals. You know what? This video should have been about Wesley instead, as opposed to... I might change the video title. Wesley in... Perrone out. Wesley in, Perrone out. I'll do it after the video, actually, because that makes more sense. I don't know why I've led on this. And also the news that made me go live was that apparently, I think it's because it's good money, and given the midfielder situation, it makes sense. From Simon Bukowski at the Manchester Evening News, he said... a positive day for City, attempts to sign Wesley and Wirtz, and they're also set to agree a 25 million deal to sell Maximo Perrone. Jacob Wright's on the move as well. Yeah, Jacob Wright is also on his way to Norwich in a permanent deal of around 2.3 million. He's playing well there. Another player that could end up being in the Premier League one day. Basically about 30 million quid between these two players, two sales, which builds towards the kitty for the transfers. Maximo Perrone leaving. Look, I'm sort of mixed on this. I think Maximo Perrone is a really talented player. He's been on loan, of course, at Como, a place that I absolutely adore for what it's worth. I will not pass up a chance to talk about how Como is one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. I went last year with the family and I fell in love with the place. Here's my hot tip for you. Como 1907 are going to be playing the Champions League football regularly in a few years' time, because they're not going anywhere, because obviously the takeover and so on. But when you look at what they've got going for them, it's an astonishing place to play football. The pull must be insane for Como. I'll show you why right now, by the way. Look, if you don't know anything about Como, it's the most beautiful place I have been to that could provide top-flight European football. I mean, look at it, man. Look at that place. Imagine living here than playing football there. It's ridiculous. What a perfect lifestyle. And they play in Serie A. That's what you get in like Switzerland. So you're not really getting the top dollars. You're not in the top 5 league. But this is in Italy. It's absolutely amazing. You got in Milan away. But anyway, what I was going to say was before that, yeah, you got Perrone, of course. He joined a couple of years ago for about 80 million quid. He signed from Vélez Sarsfield, only 22 years old, Argentinian international already. Has he played for them yet? He's been called up to the squad, but not played for him. He's played for the youth sides. He only made one appearance for Manchester City. It was a late substitute appearance against Bournemouth in the 72nd minute. And he looks pretty good, if I'm being honest. And he's always impressed as well in pre-season. Very clearly, an exciting exciting player, a lot of potential, a lot of ability. I do think this bit, is a good chance that he can make his way to the top. The way he plays, he's more of like a deep line playmaker there. Not many better to learn from than Seth Fabregas, if we're being honest. He was his manager over there. But yeah, he's a very elegant and technically gifted footballer. I think City want, someone a little bit more aggressive, like Reinders and Wirtz and Gibbs-white are more physical than Perrone is. They're a very different take where I don't think they really necessarily want the deep line playmaker. He can play further ahead as an 8, but he's not quite as aggressive going forward as, say, Reinders is or Gibbs-white. And they've got Rodri to come back, and they've got Nico Gonzalez who'll sit a bit deeper as well. So I feel like they may feel they've got that, that ticked off a little bit. And I think he's a cracking player, but they want more 8s and 10s, and he's more of a 6-stroke 8. But I think they want 8-stroke 10s, So I can understand why, they're probably moving him on right now. And once again, like 30 million. Couto's left already, hasn't he, MH? Surely. Surely he left ages ago, mate, Couto. But either way, yeah. It's one of those things where it might be the right call, this, based off the potentials, signings we're going to make. I think he's going to go to the top, really. I do honestly think he could be a very special player who'll be playing Champions League football regularly, but it might take a few years, and I don't necessarily know if he's something we need right now. We do have Rodri returning. We do got Nico Gonzalez. We've got, we're going for players who are more physical. I do like him, though, but the most important thing for me is that money, once again, is in the bank. I saw, I retweeted this early this morning. People moaning about, our net spend and all this kind of stuff. But then our sales. But then you look at this, over the last, 5 years, you can spend 350 million and we'd only just we could spend 350 million and only just catch up with Arsenal, this summer. So we're down there with 111 million. We're there just 7 along, next to Brentford and Fulham in the last 5 years in net spend. Look where Chelsea are, United, Spurs, Newcastle, Arsenal. We're miles down. So we've got the money to spend, and this is because we sell people like Perrone for 25 million. McAteer will go probably this summer. I don't want him to go personally, but he'll go probably for 25 million. We'll probably sell, I don't know who, but we'll probably get another 50 million of sales from someone, somehow. There'll be 100 million coming in this summer, minimum, I guarantee you. And then City will probably spend about 250 million net, but we can afford it, given everything, given the fact that over the last few years, we barely spent anything. So we've been averaging, I think 20 million net for the last 5 years each season. That's it. So it's nothing. Absolutely nothing, so... Yeah, I think we can afford this. As you can see why by the data there. City can afford it because they've looked after themselves. And we can afford a big splurge. And, you think Reinders, Wirtz would offer something very different. Perrone, I am a little bit worried about him going and becoming another high-level player. But it is what it is. I can make my peace with this idea if... we replace him with sufficient quality, And I say replace him. He's never been part of the team. But he's a very talented young player, and we need midfielders. If we let one go for cheap, he's got potential to reach the top. You better sign someone who'd be at the top right now. And I think that's probably the plan in midfield. I don't think City want to sign potential, really. I know Nico Gonzalez is a little bit potential-based, but he's still a senior player. I think they want to sign people like Reinders, Florian Wirtz, Morgan Gibbs-white, ones that are going to come in and make an immediate impact. I think you can sign potential in other positions. And look, it looks like we're going to sign, that Wesley fella. He's a very obvious potential thing at right back. And I understand the logic of that as well at the same time. It looks like with Wesley coming in, City will probably change their formation. On Wesley, by the way, yeah, it says obviously 35 million euros there, apparently. That's about, 26 million pounds. If you don't know much about him, he's an attacking right back. I didn't know much about him until last week. I've done lots of research on him. Yeah, very aggressive, an awful lot of pace to get forward. A decent attacking fullback, lots of pace. I'm not going to say he's at elite level or anything like that, but he is effective going forward. And he would be one of those guys that you would have a little bit of development to do, if I'm being honest. He's not going to come in as an immediate starter. I think very Kusanov level, where would play some games, would sit out some games, would play some games, would sit out some. It does make me wonder, though, what's the plan there for a starting right back? Because if he comes in as a development one, we've already got Nunes and Rico Lewis, who are both neither have locked it down. Like, what's the difference between Wesley and Nunes to an extent? Look, one's more natural, obviously. One's actually a fullback. But, one's actually, doing all right in the Premier League currently and understands Man City's way a little bit better. So there's issues there on how we deal with that. But I think the fact that we're going for attacking fullbacks will tell you everything. I think City want the fullbacks to get wide, which could mean the diamond or box midfield with the likes of Rodri and Gibbs-white and Wirtz and Reinders or Foden or whatever. We could play a lot of midfielders. It could be more of a 4-2-2-2 with Marmoush and Haaland up front and no wingers. We'll see. Well, occasionally we'll play wingers, of course, as well. But there's going to be different levels of different types of systems, different approaches to different games. But yeah, I'm reasonably relaxed with this potential sale. A really good player. I think it's very interesting that how everything's really heated up over the past few days. I'm expecting the second, hopefully that we do, City secure Champions League football. I think honestly we'll start to see potential transfers within a week or so of the end of the season. I think City are going to be insanely aggressive. I can't wait to watch it all unfold. We're going to have to get Champions League football though. Our budget changes massively. The kind of player we can attract changes massively. And it's weird to think that this Wirtz thing actually could be on as well. Look, I didn't expect it, a week ago. I thought he was basically done, but who knows, man? I saw a really interesting I retweeted it, by the way, I'll show you now. Some great quotes from a while back. Here we go. De Bruyne's agent in 2016. We reached a personal agreement with Bayern after 2 meetings. The deals collapsed on the asking price. Bayern wanted to pay 50 million euros, but no more. In the end, City won the race and Kevin is happy with his move. Just a nice little cautionary tale there, Bayern will pull out of a deal if they can't reach a fee. And De Bruyne wanted to go to Bayern, but he ended up at Manchester City. And we were the second choice, and he became Manchester City legend. And 10 years later, he's upset because he has to leave Manchester City. Rightfully so, because it became his family's home. The point I'm making there is it doesn't matter. Everyone goes, he wants to go to Bayern first. If we end up being second, what's the point in that? Don't worry about it. Like if he didn't want to sign for Man City, he wouldn't sign for Man City full stop. Even if it was, that's it. If you player signs for a club, it's because they want to, They've got too much power to worry about that. So that's an interesting little tale there, I think the way it happens if Wirtz comes is that City put on the full charm offensive. Guardiola chats to his family, reassures them. They line out a beautiful future of him as the pinnacle of Manchester City's creative midfield options. They match the deal for Leverkusen's demands. They accept a bid, and Bayern go, you're going to have to wait for us for 12 months. And he goes, well, I don't want to wait 12 months because I don't know. You won't be able to pay it in 12 months. I don't want to wait 2 years and wait for a contract to run down because that's a long time. And with Alonso going, his manager, and seeing a fire sale with Frimpong going as well, I don't think Wirtz wants to be the last out the door. I think he probably wants to go this summer knowing that things are going to dip a little bit. So that, for me, is a cautionary tale for Bayern there. And I think my confidence on Wirtz gets stronger the more and more I think about it. I think the departures of Leverkusen's key players means they're going to struggle next year. I think Wirtz is going to know that. I don't know, man. I don't know. Alonso going, Frimpong going. Who else is probably going to go for Leverkusen? Let me know in the chat if you guys... Look, I'm very tired. So I'm not fully, cognizant right now. But I do think there are issues at hand for Wirtz in terms of should he stay or should he go? Tar, yeah, exactly, that's it. Tar's going as well. Their best centre-back. So there you go. Look, immediately, people know when Alonso, Tar and Frimpong are almost certainly going. Wirtz, come on, man. He's going to want to move on. And if Bayern aren't going to match up now, eventually... City can go, look at De Bruyne, man. He wanted to go to Bayern. He ended up one of the best players in the history of the game at Manchester City Football Club. That could be your legacy too. The Premier League, the true superstar makers of the Premier League, the money of the Premier League, the exposure. It must be tempting the more he thinks about it. And also, the thing for me is as well, if I know how people work, people... and Capi and Palacios as well. There we go, man. So many. People are stubborn in life, if you want to go somewhere, kids are stubborn, your parents say you can't go there, stay in Germany. It makes you want to go more. You remember we're all being young kids somewhere. So when your parents say, no, go do this instead, naturally, a small part of you wants to rebel against them because you're human. And a small part of Wirtz will probably want to go to Manchester or the Premier League just because his parents sort of don't want him to, because that's human nature. And this unfolds in the way that it currently is, with Bayern not, stumping up the cash and Leverkusen seeing players go. he might start going to mum and dad. Look, come on, man. Like, I'm going to be stuck here, and Leverkusen won't be the level. We're going to dip massively. Our manager's gone. And what if Bayern don't want to pay him? Get me for 2 years. What's the plan then? And I'll be older, and someone else might move on, and I'll be playing lower football. Like, there's a real risk of it. And I think the argument gets stronger and stronger and stronger. So I don't know, man. I'm starting to feel like the world is turning towards Manchester City here. Wirtz's world is turning towards Manchester City. I don't have any doubts whatsoever that the charm of Viana and Cheeky, plus Guardiola speaking to his family, could be, and maybe Caldu might get involved, could be very, very persuasive. And so could the financial package as well, so we'll see. Anyway, guys, just a quick video. I've got to go and do lots of housework before baby number 2 arrives imminently. Nicola's gone out with Ruben, and I'm going to go do some housework. I'm going to clean the house for the next 2 hours. Yay! Let me know what you make of this potential transfer and the Wesley deal, and how you feel about Wirtz and Rangers. Check out the kit review from yesterday. Like the video, subscribe if you're new. Bye-bye!